Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining the Ryan Weiner podcast, where we talk about all things that have to do with the questions of existence. So, if wondering why you're here and the questions of existence are something that you're interested in, hit the old like button and go ahead and subscribe. That's the way you're going to get this information, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't into this kind of thing. So, yeah, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. We've got a great guest, Mr. Robert Mason. Robert is an ongoing contactee. He's actually from Perth, Australia, so he's from a little bit of our neighbors across the way there. He's got a group called the Facebook group, actually called UFO Rehab, and has been president of the Contactee group for in the area of Perth there. But he can obviously go into more details and tell everybody about this. But Robert, yeah, thank you so much for joining us, man. If you want to tell us about your story and all that good jazz, we'd love to hear it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Um, Thanks for having me on your show and giving me the chance to tell my story today. Hopefully, it all works out good. So I'll take you back to the start. I was about 15, 16, and I was on my first international flight on a international airline, and we're flying from Australia to London. And while we're flying over the Himalayas, um, had a window seat, and it's the first time I had ever been on an airplane, and had didn't have a privileged life. So I had a pretty hard life growing up and did it pretty hard. So first time going on an international flight was like a big deal. And so it was me and my brother and my father, and it was a big deal. And I had eagerly wanted the window seat, and I always got the window seat and spent a lot of time looking out the window, like wanted to see the world. And a lot of it was just ocean and clouds. But when we're flying over the Himalayan mountains, the clouds and stuff, the sky cleared up quite a lot. So I spent a lot of I was like the whole time I was just glued, just looking out the window. And then all of a sudden the plane just lifted up, and I seen this object. It was like a long cylindrical object, and it flew under our plane really close, like I'd say within a couple hundred meters. It was really close, and the pilot must have seen it because the pilot seemed to react to this object, and lifted the plane up a little bit. And I was looking out the window, so I seen it, and it sort of like stopped for a moment, and then just shot off really quick like a bullet. And looking back on it now, it's I feel as though it did that deliberately, so I would see it, and then yeah, that's the conclusion I've come to. Um,
Oh, like a cigar shaped type of thing.
yeah, yep, definitely,
Okay.
yeah, definitely, and yeah, it was unexplainable, and it was like no wings on it. Um, there was like no wings. There was no. I didn't see any cockpit on it or anything like that. It was nothing looked like anything like we had had, and this was in the year 2000. So the year 2000, like, definitely wasn't any like technology wasn't as advanced. Like in the last 25 years, technology's it's come quite a long way. But in the year 2000, we still didn't even have smartphones and stuff like that. So to see this object was like, what was that, you know? And I looked at my father and my brother, and before I even said anything, I knew they weren't looking out the window, they hadn't seen it, and I sort of just kept it to myself. I kept it to myself, and it was always in my mind. I was like, what was that? What was that? And I was like, what if I seen a UFO? Was that what was that? And I was just lost for answers. And then probably about a year or two later, after coming back from the holiday and all that stuff, it was always in the back of my mind. About a year or two later, one of my father's friends, he was really smart with computers, and he had hold of this, because in Australia, especially back then, um, we usually like a year behind. So like things come out in America and stuff like that, and then we're like a year or two maybe later we'll get it. So we're a bit behind. But so things like UFO footage and um, the Disclosure Project, Dr. Stephen Disclosure Project, when they're inside the White House and all that. Like that was hard to come by back in the early days. But one of my dad's friends had the Disclosure Project on a video file on his computer, and he let me watch it because I was telling him about what I'd seen that night on the plane. That time on the plane, and he'd give me the Disclosure Project, and he said, "Watch this," because I was describing to him about the cylindrical object that I'd seen, and he said it might have been one of these UFOs referred to as a rod, the rod craft, like a rod. And that's when I first become aware of Dr. Stephen Greer and the Disclosure Project and stuff. And at the time, it was great because it allowed me to have faith in what I've seen, because after I'd seen that thing on a plane, I was like always questioning myself, and as I do, because I am my own biggest critic, and I like to consider myself to be of sound mind, and yeah, factual based opinions and all that type of stuff. Like I just don't go off on tangents and just believing in anything or anything like that, or easily convinced. Very hard to be convinced and hard to fool me. So I was happy, and it was a relief to find Dr. Stephen Greer in the Disclosure Project, and they were talking about the stuff, and I was like, fuck, it must have been a UFO that I'd seen. And then so that was in the back of my mind, and then yeah, being a bit silly, I went to jail for a year and a half, got out of jail. And at this point, I just turned 26, and like a failed relationship, and with this girl that I really loved, and all this other stuff like had happened, and I was almost like down and out, but I was yeah, I was in about I was down, and that's when I bumped into my friend because I just got out. This was the year 2012, so this was the start of the year
Okay.
2012, and I bumped into a friend, and he told me about this thing about the Mayan calendar and about the new age and all this other cool stuff. And at the time, I was digging it. I was like, cool, yeah, this sounds good. This is right. This sounds cool. And then it was like people talking about the end of the world and then Armageddon and stuff like that. And I said to my mate and another person that was there, I said, oh, I doubt it'll be the end of the world. The UFOs will protect us, or if it was like to say a meteor or something like that was coming, the UFOs have got our back. They'll make sure we're all right. And then my mate was like, "What do you mean UFO?" And I was like, and then I tried to explain to him about the UFO I'd seen while aboard the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And you always tell people that you've seen it and you legitimately seen it, like, and then but I know, like, even when I tell people, it's like, because I'm very much very skeptical myself. You can just know that they're not really, unless you've seen it yourself. It's hard just to believe someone and take them on their word. And I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a military person. I don't have much credentials at all, really. Other than I do, but I won't get off topic just yet. I'll save that till later on. Though, so my friend and that was like, oh, they're interested in stuff. And then anyway, long story short, so I started working for this other friend that I was introduced to, and his name's Justin. And one morning on the way to work, just as I first started working for them for about a month or so, we were on the way to work and we pulled over and we're talking, and I told him, and we started for some reason with the UFO subject come up, and I said, well, funny enough, I was convinced I'd seen a UFO, and I was only for a few couple of seconds, like a quick moment, and it stopped on the plane and then shot off, and then I was so, and I told my boss about the experience and what I'd seen on the airplane, and he said, that's funny because him and his wife, about maybe 10 years before that, had witnessed the sighting just near Champion Lakes in Kelmscott. It's just a suburb in Perth. And he reckons there was about 6 or maybe 8 lights in the sky flying, making formations, making all different types of geometric, like perfect formations in the sky, doing something that like planes and drones and stuff like that weren't even around then. So I'm just so people don't get that and then confused or anything like that. But so it was quite a big sighting, and it was reported in the local newspaper. And there was like probably maybe about 100 cars had pulled over on the side of the road and watching this event. And I didn't know about it. And
Anybody
my
get
boss,
photos or anything?
I'm not sure, but if you find the archives for like the West Australian or something like that, you might find it in the newspaper articles.
Gotcha.
Anyhow, there was a lot of people had seen it, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, a little bit of me was like, I get a little bit jealous sometimes. I'm like, oh, fuck, I wish I had seen that, like, myself, because I'd only just seen this brief moment of this UFO on the airplane. I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. I would love to have seen that. Anyway, so probably about a week after having this conversation with my boss, we started working. We got a contract for this job working on Garden Island, which is a pretty high security, high facility nuclear submarine Navy base in West Australia. And America we were there building barracks for Marines, for American Marines and American subs to come there. And they're here now. And so yeah, it was no joke. It was obviously, as you know, it was no joke. So we're building these barracks and stuff, and we're working real hard building these barracks. Like, never worked so pretty hard in my life. We had to make every room so it was completely airtight. Like one of the like the generals or commanders or commando guys would come in after we'd finished the job and throw a smoke grenade in any room. He'd just pick one of the rooms with the dongers that we'd built for the accommodation for the Marines and throw a smoke grenade in there. And if any of the smoke had seeped outside of the room, or we wouldn't be paid for the work that we'd be done, and we'd be in a lot of trouble, and it wouldn't be a good thing, because they wanted to make sure if a fire had broken out in one of the dormitories, that it wouldn't kill the other Marines. It wouldn't go on and start a fire and kill the rest of the other Marines. Anyway, so we're working really hard, and it was getting close to the end of the day, and Justin, I should say, Justin was like, I want to go do a cash job tonight. Who wants to come and help me? And no one put their hand up. Everyone was like, nah, stuff that. We've been working way too hard today. Like, no way. And I said, yeah, go on. I'll come give you a hand, Justin. Yeah, go on. I didn't mind. And Justin's a good bloke and he's my mate. I was like, yeah, I'll help you out, because he has got like 6 or 7 kids, and it was getting close to Christmas, and he was stuck for money and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll give you a hand. And so long story short, we pulled in my house, grabbed a couple of bits, and then we're off on the way to do this cash job. And by then it was about 7:30, I think it was, and it was getting dark. And I was tired. I really didn't want to be gone doing this job, but I was really tired. But I wanted to help Darby out, and he was tired as well, because we worked, like I said, we worked hard. And yeah, and so we're driving down the highway, and then I seen these 3 lights in the sky. I'm very familiar with Perth and the sky and stuff like that, and I'm quite aware of what the situation around me. So when I seen these 3 lights like floating in the sky, I was like, what are they? They're not supposed to, that's not right. They're not supposed to be there. And then, but when I looked at it, because I'd already been doing a little bit of research into UFOs and stuff, I had seen in footage before the 3, when they rock up as the 3 lights, they make like a triangle shape and they do all this cool stuff. Well, it was them. So, and I guess whether it's like a civilization of UFOs and that's part of their one of their spacecrafts or something like that, I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, we don't know at all, but whether it's the same UFOs or not. Anyway, so but it was them, and it was clearly them. And then I was like, Dad, you got to pull over. You got to pull the car over. And then he was like, no, come on, we're tired. I'm going to go to this job. And he'd seen the UFOs before, like 10 years prior, like I said, and he'd pulled over already with his missus in the car, and they stood there and watched these things for like 15, 20 minutes. Nothing ever come of it. The lights like were making shapes and doing some amazing things. And then I'd have to ask him, but I think he said they just like disappear, or they just took off. I'm pretty sure they disappeared. Anyway, so for him to pull over on the side of the road at that moment and just to watch the UFOs again, and in his mind nothing would come of it, was just like, he was just like, no, come on, we've got to go to this job. And I looked at him and I went to open the car door and I said, I'll jump out the car right now and I'll break my arms and legs. I don't care. Let me out the car right now. Pull the car over. And because in the back of my mind, it was the 2012 calendar, and maybe it was going to be the end of the world. And like I said to my friend, the UFOs will come, will look after us, and maybe if it was going to be the end of the world, maybe they were here to pick up survivors or whoever, like people want to be rescued, or who knows. It sounds like a movie, but this is legit. And so I was like, nah, pull over. This is this is meant to happen. This is destiny, sort of thing. So we pulled over on the side of the road, and I got my phone out and back. Like I said, this is 2012, and 2012, I think smartphones had barely just come out. It was like the iPhone 4 or something. And like, if you go back to one of them old phones now, the cameras on them phones are terrible and all that stuff. Nothing like we've got now. Though, so we're trying to film it on my phone. Darbs and my friend, his name's Justin Darby, but I always call him Darbs. But yeah, Justin. So he's trying to film it on his phone. He had an iPhone 4, and I hadn't even an older phone, and a worse phone. And so we did our very best for about 5 or 10 minutes just to film them. And at that moment, that's when one of the craft, it's my opinion, and I believe that it's in charge of the 3. Though I'll just say right now what I think. I think these are like scout craft. I think the 3 of them are like scouts, or like reconnaissance craft. And I'll get to the reason why in a moment, but I've just got a feeling they are, because one of them went on this angle, because it was flying away from us. It looked like it was just going up slowly, but it was actually going on an angle outside of, let's just say, where the ozone layer is. It went right up, and then it was like it was flying to the moon almost, or it was just flying out to space. And meanwhile, the other two just teleported side by side, like just like when I say teleport, like both just disappeared, and then all of a sudden they just appeared side by side and
Mm.
started fusing into one. And I was watching it going, fuck, like, obviously nothing can explain what this is. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
And as they're fusing into one, if you could imagine, like, you remember Raiden from Mortal Kombat, how he's like, when he charges up, he's got blue electricity and stuff like going
Yeah.
around him. Well, between these two, when these two objects were fusing into one, you could see like blue electric lightning bolts and like between coming from both the
Like a
craft and around the
plasma.
craft. Yeah, and I don't know what it was, and it would like, yeah, it would make him completely silent. And another thing was, they were actually hovering over Perth International Airport, and so yeah, so you could see that the 747s, or the airplanes that were waiting to land, were like scattered out over the like on the horizon, like across the city, like the landscape, just like basically just doing big massive circles around the city, like obviously waiting to land. And so we're on the side of the road watching these things, and they're hovering over the Perth airport, and planes obviously couldn't land because they were directly over the runway. Now, people in the control tower, the pilot of the other plane, maybe passengers, other people had to have seen what we seen, these craft that night. And I've tried to find like logbooks and stuff like that, if it was documented by the Perth airport about the lights that night. And I
Yeah.
still haven't been able to find anything. And it's been over 12 years now, so I doubt the same people are even working there. But I should have, in hindsight, I should have maybe tried a little bit harder to get in contact with people that work there, like in the watchtower, if they'd seen what I'm trying to explain now. Anyway, so then Dubs is like, come on, or Justin's like, come on, we've got to go do this cash job. It's been bloody 5 or 10 minutes. Our batteries were almost gone flat on our phones. And so I'm like, yeah, all right. I said, I'll drive, but you've got to keep filming. And then so we got in the car, and started the car, and we started driving away. And that's when the one that went right out on, like I said, on the angle and went out outside the ozone layer, that one, you can even see it's all on footage. That one stops, comes back, starts getting bigger and brighter, comes around, I want to say behind the tree, but it's not actually behind the tree. It's just the angles and stuff that we filmed it on. It looks like it just comes from around the back of this tree. Got to use my arms and stuff to explain because obviously it's hard sometimes to picture or to explain properly what I'm trying to explain. But it's come around this back of the tree, and meanwhile the other two that were turned into one, they broke apart. And then we started driving away, and this is all caught on video as well. And the craft, the 3 UFOs started following us. So we're driving down the highway, and they were like in line with us, like had flown away from the airport and were following us. And it was in that moment, it was like the feelings I can't really like explain, but like just imagine if you're like you go to Olympic Games or something and you win like a gold medal for your country, or just this moment where it's like the pinnacle of all happiness and success and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and you just feel so good. Like it's an amazing feeling. Like it's way beyond sex or anything like that. Like just an amazing, like I can't just felt I was so good because in my mind I was like, bloody hell, these things are actually going to save me. We're going to leave the world. Something bad's going to happen. Like, fuck, this is crazy. Like, yeah, just the best feeling. And then so we're driving along, and I'm saying the footage like, Dubs, they're following us. Make sure you keep filming. And then so by then my battery on my phone had gone flat. So Dubs had his iPhone 4, and he's trying his best to film. And then we're still going this job. I was like, and then in my mind, I'm like, why am I going to go do this cash job? Like, that's not even important. Money is not important. None of that stuff is important. For whatever reason, getting with these UFOs and surviving or whatever's going on, this is way more important. This is obviously like destiny almost, or on a massive higher level. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
so, and I've tried to explain that to Dubs, and he's come in from a different perspective on things. And then I was like, and I said, look, Dubs, imagine if because I was just trying to think of ways to convince him just to forget about this cash job. Let's play. Let's like follow let's see what these things want, sort of thing. And then I said to him, I said, oh, imagine if we got amazing footage, Dubs, the best footage ever, and and got like 1 billion views and he made all this money on YouTube or something like that, and you didn't have to worry about money anymore. And when I said about the money thing, I just seen in his mind, he just went, no, he's right. He's like, stuff that job. You're right. Let's see what these UFOs, let's get some footage of these UFOs. And at that moment when he did and said that, they disappeared. And I was like, fuck. I was like, where are they? They're like, they just, all of a sudden they were there. Like the three of them were just fucking right there. And the next minute they're gone. They disappeared. And then we're driving around for about no, which seemed really quick, but also a lot of things happened in these, like, I'd say maybe 20 minutes or half an hour. And so that's another thing. This wasn't just like a quick couple of second sighting. This was like something that went on for like half an hour. Like this was pretty, like, yeah, just completely changed me forever. But so they disappeared, and I was worried and concerned that maybe these things are like a highly ethical and highly moral based, and things like money and all this other stuff. Like they frown upon that. Like maybe like the Jedi's and stuff like that. They're like highly, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of a word, but I can't think of the proper word. But so I was like, oh, because we failed the test, we're just doing this because of money or something like that, or for ego or something like that. They're not interested in us anymore. Because we couldn't find them, they'd gone. Anyway, so we pulled into this Altone Sports Complex, which is about 10-15 minutes away from the airport, right? So we pull in. I was still driving, and then I was like half hanging out of Darby's car out the window, looking for the UFOs, going, oh, bloody hell, that was our chance to be rescued or whatever was going on, and we just blown it, you know. And then I crashed my friend's car into this wooden pylon, and like I said, he hasn't got much money. He's got like 6 kids and stuff, so he was like, fuck, he's crashed my car, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, Rob? Like, bloody. And I didn't even care. I just, you hear me on footage, I just opened the car door, chucked in car keys, and just said, you can drive. I quit. Like, I quit. Fucking, I don't want, whatever. I'm gone. And I just took about 5 or 10 steps, and it was all dark around me in Altone Sportsplex. And I was angry with Dubs because he forced me to go against my inner, I'll say my inner
voice.
Yeah, right. So yeah, my subconscious or whatever. So, and then so he's worried about looking at his damage on his car, because I crashed in these wooden pylons that like stops cars from out driving to the park and on the grass and stuff. And he's looking at the damage of his car, and I'm like just like charging, just trying to get to the higher ground, trying to get to the highest point of this oval that we're at, so I could get a good look around. And then I've taken about 10 steps, and for some reason I just stopped and just looked straight up, and I was like, what the fuck? And it was right there. It was like, if you were to look up into your ceiling in your room right now, that's how close it was. If I could have jumped like an extra meter or something, I would have been able to touch it. Though the 3 lights, like I said, like I believe a scout craft, they were like an orangey color, let's say, or like a deep red, or actually they were going from like shades of orange to red, and they were changing size as well, like as big as they want. They're almost like they can do anything they want in this dimension or whatever. I don't know, but but when I looked straight up, and it was underneath of, I believe, of one of their craft, not the scout craft. This was different. This was bigger. This was like, I believe this was one of the actual, not the mothership, but this was like one of their actual craft boarded by one of the creatures or beings or the aliens, whatever you want to call it. I've never seen an alien or an extraterrestrial with my own eyes, so. And like I said, I'm very skeptical, so I'm still, there's part of me that there's still a part of me that questions whether aliens are flying these things or not. And though I know they're not human or they're not from our world, and I know, but maybe like, then you'll start going down the path of like religion and angels, and not people with wings and stuff like that, but like spirit, I don't know, but I just try to be open-minded about every possibility what they could be, every possibility whatsoever. But without a doubt, they're intelligent. They're super intelligent, like godlike intelligence, and they're definitely nothing that we've got anyway. So I've looked straight up, and then this was different. This was like a purple blue color, like a little bit like the color that sign I got behind me, the blue in that sign.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was made, and it was making actually a round shape like that sign behind me, but it was about, I'd say, groups of 3 lights of these purple blue lights, but I'd say about 15 groups. So it sounds a bit confusing, but if I could maybe draw it for you. Anyway, so so I've looked straight up and I've gone, fuck, what's, all of a sudden, like, I couldn't see the stars behind it. These things was right there. I was like, fuck. And sorry for swearing as well. But there's another way for me to explain it. I was like, what the,
No, I
what the,
got you.
I was like, whoa. And I was going like, and these amazing feelings that I was having already as it was. And then all of a sudden I was down because I thought we'd failed and stuff up and they'd gone. And then I looked straight up and bang, it's right there. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh my God. I was like, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. Take me. Let's go. I want to survive. Take me to the next world. I'll take me there with 100 women and I'll repopulate that planet for you. Whatever. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's if you need someone to save the human race, I'm ready. Let's go. I don't mind. I was, like I said, I'm not like I had much here to live for anyway. So I was like, let's go. And just maybe a billion things were just getting calculated in my mind in a microsecond. And the first thing was these things make me feel so good. How could they be bad or evil? How are they going to do harm to me? I don't think they're going to do harm to me because they're like, they didn't scare me at all. It was like I was like, I just love them so much, like more than anything. And when I see them, it just makes me feel so happy. Even like I'll get onto the later stuff soon. So I've looked at it, I'm like, yeah, yes, and I was buzzing, and I was like, yes, let's go. And then I said, yep, take me up, let's go, let's just do it. And then as I'm basically having them force, this is all within about 3 or 4 seconds. The groups of the lights, like I said, the blue purple lights, independently of each other, like I'll just show you with my hand, independently of each other, started spinning around each other, and then so these different groups, and then at the same time they started spinning around each other, and then they were like, it was like, but it happened real quick, and it was like a spiral thing. So it was like like these little ones, like, and then it just went, and I was like, fuck! I was like, and I turned and looked at Dubs. I said, Dubs, did you see that? Did you see that? And he's like turned back and looked at me because he's still looking at his car, and he's like, no, I didn't see it. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, wow. I was like, and then that moment, so everything that happened with the UFOs up to that moment, I still was very much not in doubt or whatever. I was still skeptical. But once that happened, bam, that was it. That was it. Show's over. I will never ever be the same again. I could never. You could put me in a dungeon and torture me for 100 years, and I still won't ever change my story on what happened. You won't. You can electrocute me and torture me and do whatever you want in Guantanamo Bay like a terrorist or whatever, and I will not capitulate and fold and change my. That's what happened, and so, and I was so happy, and I was like, what the? I was like, that was amazing. I was like, and then, but the first thing come to my mind was, well, Darbs didn't see it. No one else has seen it. The UFOs have done this in a way, though. It's like them saying to me, "Chill, it's all right, Rob. We know you wanted to survive, and we wanted all these things I was like thinking and worried about and fantasizing about and stuff. It's all cool. We know that. We're just letting you know that you're all right. It's all good. Just chill, sort of thing." And I was like, wow, that's like a personal text message or bloody commit. You know what I mean? It's like I know they exist now, and they know I exist, and that feelings are so good, and I was so happy, and it was very personal, very private at that point. And even if I say to Dubs and other people, I said, oh, you don't understand. Yeah, we got all this stuff on footage, but I seen this other thing that was a different cut and it was way bigger, and I seen it was really close, and it let me see it. Without a doubt, let me see it, and it took off. And like I would love to, I would, like I said to a couple of my American friends in the UFO community, I would love to have like something that I could put on, like let's say like a hat or something, or a helmet, and you could see my memories, or you could see what was in my mind's eye, and I could go through my memories and take you back and show you exactly on screen of TV. Let's say if this technology have gone created, and show you what I've seen, and like it's awesome. And so it's in my mind recorded. So I've got the recording, and like ever since I like at least multiple times a day since then. It's been over 12 years now. I think about that, and I'm always take a conscious effort and go. I never would forget it, but I'm like yeah, that just run it through my mind, just like I don't want to make too much of a point about it, but it really did change me that moment forever. And the feeling, I was just amazing. So I was like buzzing. I was like, all of a sudden I became super aware, and I want to say my psychic senses were just heightened big time, big time. Like that's to this day, like yeah, if spins me out all the time, and anyone that's around me long enough will just be like, they just after a while they're just like, that's just Rob, just get used to it, like just spinning people out, doing some real trippy stuff, and just knowing things, and just yeah, just having faith in my intuition and stuff like that. Anyway, that's another story. But so I felt so good, and I was like buzzing, and I was like having a shower, and there was all this stuff. So I got home, and I was like having a shower, and then I was like well, I hope they're not bloody, because when I was running across the road, I looked straight up, and they were right there. I was like, who's to say they're not always just right there? Who's to say they're not just right over my house right now? And I froze with fear because I was at home on my own. I was like, and I said to him, I said, you better not scare me too much. Like, don't be sneaking around doing creepy stuff, scaring me too much. Like, if you want to do it, just be cool, and just don't be creeping out of the bloody darkness and scaring the crap out of me or anything like that. You know, like, and I was scared. I was like, because I knew at this point that these things were real, and I knew that they knew that I knew that they existed, they knew I existed, and we both had established that. And I was like, who's to say? They probably were right above my house, because I could sort of feel them. I was like, whoa, fuck. And I was watching the footage, this little bit of footage that we had on our phones, and I was like disappointed, because the footage, it was as amazing as it is, and crazy and awesome, and how good that it is. It only shows a small percentage of what we actually seen and experienced that night. So I was disappointed with the footage, but I was also very grateful with the footage as well at the same time. So it's that crazy what happens in the footage. Like, it's almost like I've shown people, and they're like, have trouble believing it, because it's like, fuck, this is a bit, well, it's legit. It's like, I can't even. It took me like 2 days to get ready for this interview on this computer. Like, I'm useless on computers. Like, I've got no skills on computers or anything like that. So I can't make CGI or anything like that, and AI, all that stuff. So this was like legit. And then, so then 2 nights later, so I was absolutely buzzing, and I quit my job, because like I said, I told Darby the 2 nights before, from the keys, said, you can drive. At that moment I quit, and I was working and gone to work. Like, I haven't worked since then. I was like, getting a job and going to work was like the least of my concerns. And so then my friend that had told me about the Mayan calendar that I told you after I got out of jail, and he told me, and he told me about the Mayan calendar, I rang him up straight away. I was like, dude, you're not going to believe what just happened to me and Justin last night. Got footage and all this stuff come around. And he's come around, and I'm showing him the footage, and he's like, oh, I want to see it, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, we should go back out tonight. We should go back out, because I didn't have a license at the time. We should get your friend Donna to drive us, and we'll go back out, because I've got a feeling that these things are still hanging around. So it was 2 nights later, on the 22nd of the 11th, 2012. And so we went out in this lady's car. Donna, it was like this first or second time I'd ever met this lady. I didn't even really know her, but I knew that she did like tarot card readings, and was like one of these hippie spiritual people and stuff like that. And I never really, because I've come from a different lifestyle, where like not me personally, but like my family stuff around the criminal underworld. I will just say it, the criminal underworld, and for me to be walking around talking about seeing UFOs and stuff like that, with like people would be like, "What's wrong with Rob? What's going on with Rob? Like, I think he's losing it or whatever." Like, But so then for me to come out and tell people that I got abducted by UFOs as well, people were like, "Shit, is he losing his mind or whatever?" But So yeah, for me to be hanging around like these hippie ladies and stuff like that felt a little bit awkward for me, or wasn't normal. So anyway, so she's driving, and we pulled over side. We went to the pulled over side of the road where we'd first pulled over, and we were filming. And then you could see, because my mate Justin, he drinks a bit of alcohol. You could see like his empty beer cans were on the floor, and I was like, "Look, this is where we stopped the car. There's Justin's empty beer cans on the side of the road there." So you knew that So they. Kimbo and Donna knew that we had been there 2 nights before, clearly, because I said to stop here, and you could see our empty cans there, or Justin's empty cans. And so but we weren't seeing the UFOs. There was no UFO, we weren't seeing the UFOs. And then, so I was still buzzing from what had happened 2 nights before. To this day, I'm still buzzing about it. But I was still buzzing. But Kimbo and Donna were like, all of a sudden, became big, what's it called? Where like, they just killed the vibe. They just became like, yeah, basically, right. So and it wasn't affecting my buzz, but I could sort of see like it could have if I had let it. And I was like, no. I was like, don't worry, and then Donna goes, let's just go up to the Goslin's Rock Quarry. And Goslin's Rock Quarry up in the hills, which surround Perth, especially now, but even then it's like there's a lot of security there. It's not just some place that you can just go and visit and drive in and just do what you want and drive around in there. But for some reason that night, but it's one of the highest points in Perth, like on the hills. So, but for some reason that night, we just managed just to drive straight in. It was weird. It was like we were on autopilot. We just drove straight in, past all the security or everything. We just kept driving in, drove past all the trucks and all the workers, just kept driving in, drove up to the very top of the quarry. And I said, stop the car here, let me out. And I just wanted to get out the car and away from these two buzzkill, Donna and Kimbo, because they were just like, oh, this, that, and the other. And like, I was still on cloud nine. I was like, get me out of the car. And, cause I'm quite a headstrong person. Like, I don't take people, no one tells me what to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I got out of the car and then I was seeing this hill and this little mound. You can see it in the photos. This is all I've got photos. The mound's only like 2 meters, maybe 3 meters high, but it was an extra 3 meters higher than where I was. So I was like, and it was only about 25, 30 meters away from me in the car. So I started running towards it. And in my mind, I was like, stuff them. I was like, if you like the UFOs, because I sort of started figuring out that they were like maybe read my thoughts or something like that, I suppose. But, or whether or not even we were being controlled at some point, I don't know either. But so I was running up towards this hill and I was thinking in my mind, it's going to sound crazy, but I was thinking, if they just swoop now and grab me, as I was climbing to the top of the hill, it was getting one of the highest points in Perth. I was like, if they just grab me and then bang, I just felt this thing, and you can even see it in the video and the footage in the photo. Something, I thought I got swooped by a bird, by a magpie, which is, I don't know if you know what magpies are, but they're these really angry birds here in Australia, and at certain times of the year they'll swoop you and they'll come straight for your eyes, and they're pretty ferocious, these birds. And I had a few traumatic incidences when I was young, when I was a child, with my brother, where I was pinned down by these birds swooping me. Anyway, that's a long story. So when I got swooped, when I felt this thing like brush across the back of my shoulder and the back of my neck and top of my head, I thought, fuck, I got swooped. I was getting swooped by a bird. Middle of the night, birds don't, especially magpies, don't fly at night anyway. So I was like, but all this happens very, very quick. I was like, and then next minute I was like, everything just was like a brightest light, and I don't know where I was, but I was. I couldn't look down and look at my arms and stuff like that, but I was still able to think, if you know what I mean. I was still able to have thoughts and talk to my own self in my thoughts. And I was like, if what's happening right now I think is happening, actually, I changed my mind. And I was like, I want to go back to Earth. I want to go back home. Put me back. This is way too real. This is way, I was like, nah, hang on a minute. Yeah, I was acting tough a minute ago and wanted you to take me, but now this is way too real. And I love my mum and I love my dad, and I like Earth. I like, you know what I mean? I like the planet or whatever. Like, put me back. And, but in a roundabout, like, it all happening very quickly. And then bang, like another thing I can remember or say is like another flash of light. But now, instead of me facing out towards the city and running up this mound, I'm now facing the car and facing my friend Donna and Kimbo. So they spun me around, and I was now, like, because I was running up the hill, they'd spun me around and dropped me back off, and I was now running towards the car again. Like, I was like, what the fuck? And Donna's standing there with this camera in her hand, right? And I've just got angry all of a sudden. I'm like, what are you doing taking fucking photos of me? No, don't take photos of me without my permission. What? I was real angry. And she's standing there like, going, oh my God, you're not going to believe what just happened. Her and Kimbo standing going, oh my God, you got to see what I was like, just get in the car, let's go. And I was angry. And this is exactly what happened. I was like, get in the car, let's go. And we're driving out. I was like, what are you taking? I've only just met you, Donna. I haven't known you 5 minutes, and you're bloody taking photos of me, like, in a moment of me, a moment of vulnerability. I think that's the right word, or like me being vulnerable. Like, I've only just met you, and I don't have you're privileged to be in my car. That's not been in an ego, big-headed way or anything like that, but that's pretty much what I was saying. I was like, hey, don't be taking photos of me without my permission. If we're going to be friends and stuff like that, just don't do that. And she's like, well, and then we almost got home, and she's like, got the courage and gone, look, you got to have a look at this. I've taken 2 photos. You're not in the first photo. You're in the second photo, and there's this bloody thing there's the UFOs behind me. Crazy photos. And yeah, and she's done quite, and then so it turned out she had these photos, and then all of a sudden I become very close with this lady, Donna. I was like, she became my best friend, and I was like, and she had all the answers for some reason. I was like asking her about stuff like, she was telling me like stuff about the mining, all the golden age, all the stuff, this, I'll say hippie new age type of stuff. And she had all the answers, and I was like, fuck, I needed to hear this. And she's telling me about my astrology, my birth star dates when I was born, and did all this stuff, my birth star charts and all stuff. And it even says in my birth star chart, when she'd done it, it says, I will change, my life will go on a different course after having another planetary influence in my life. And like maybe she might see it as like, oh, Gemini and Saturn cross fucking Mercury retrograde or something like that. But in my mind, that means from another planet, that's the bloody UFOs coming along. You know what I mean? So I suppose that's how it works with astrology. You can find your own meaning and values out of it. But that's, to me, it was like this, what she was reading out of this book was written for me to hear. And that was spinning me out as well. So she had these photos of me being abducted, and then Donna and Kim were like, well, what happened in them 4 or 5 seconds and when they took you away? I said, well, first off, I got spooked by a magpie. The next minute, I was becoming aware of what was going on, and I was scared. I was really scared, and yeah, like one night, I'm not scared of much either. Like, so these things, it did scare me, and so, and like I said before, for me to tell people that I'd seen a UFO was one thing, but for me to tell people I've been abducted by UFOs and I got photo evidence of it was another thing. So it took about a year or so for me to be comfortable and start telling people. Oh, I was telling people straight away that I'd seen UFOs, but it took about a year for me to get the courage and go, yeah, I was actually abducted as well, and I got the photos of that as well. I'm talking about people that I know personally, known me my whole life, and anyone that's known me my whole life will tell you, Rob's not someone that. I might be a little bit unreliable here and there, and I might be late for like an appointment or a meeting, but I don't ever make up stories. I don't ever lie. I'm not one of these people that goes, oh yeah, last night I beat him up and I had sex with her and I did this. And it's just a complete, I can't stand people that make up stories and lie. There's nothing worse. Like, because as soon as someone starts giving you false information, anything they say after that, it's just worth nothing. Like, I ain't got no time for people that just make up even just the smallest little lies can just ruin someone's, and like they could. It's like the boy that cried wolf, I suppose, you know, like,
right, yeah.
It's not good to be like, so any lies. So I've never been known to tell lies or make up stories, right? So, and next minute I'm telling everyone that I know, and I know quite a lot of people here in Perth about the UFOs and stuff. And I will say this. So at the start, people were like mocking me, joking, like a little bit, like whispers were getting around people. Oh, Rob's losing the plot, this and that and the other. But now, 12, 13 years later on, now it's completely different. Everyone's like, oh, Rob the UFO, like, yep, bang, bang. If anyone's got any question about UFO, they'll come and see me and ask me about it. Not because I have all the answers, but because they know that I'm telling the truth. And not only that, I'm telling the truth, and like I've stuck my guns the whole time, and it's the truth. And anyway, so that aside, so I had the photos and the video, and then that's when I was like, so I'd seen them. So I would be just basically spent a year or two just standing outside every night, looking up at the sky, waiting for them to come back, hoping that they'd come back. But it was basically straight away, the first couple of seconds of me going out looking at the night sky, I presume it's them, but like when I was a child growing up, I would let's say see something in the sky and someone would go, oh, that's just a satellite, don't worry about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a satellite. Never look at something like that ever again and just be like, yeah, that's the answers. Everyone's got all the answers. Science has got all the answers. Mom and dad know that's just a satellite. Don't worry about that, blah, blah, blah. But all of a sudden, after my UFO stuff, and I look up the sky, and it's never happened to me ever in my life, but I would look up the sky, and after about a couple of moments, bang, well, these so-called satellites, if that's what I was told before that they were, or lights and stuff. Like, when I say satellites, I mean, when I seen the three of them, they were like just a couple hundred meters off the ground. Like, they were low level. When I say satellites, I mean, I presume it's the same craft, but like way out really far away up in the sky, like the size of stars. Anyway, but they would just, when look in the sky, they would just start disappearing out of nowhere and flashing, and then doing all this crazy stuff, and then multiple ones following each other, doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, that's not satellites, that's them. Obviously, that's them. And then once again, that's when I come across Dr. Stephen Greer and his work with the CE5 stuff, because I'd known about the Disclosure Project, but I had never heard about the CE5 stuff. And it wasn't until, and then I sort of went looking on the internet a little bit, because by then I've like, internet and stuff like that. I was more savvy with like a little bit more savvy with YouTube and stuff like that. So I did a little bit of research and found Dr. Stephen Greer with the CE5 stuff, and then watching him go out and then looking at the sky, and all of a sudden the same thing that I was seeing, the bloody lights and the satellites were, they were filming and doing the same thing. And Dr. Stephen Greer and that were pointing lasers at them and saying, oh, that's this, that, and the other. We're doing this through our own consciousness. We're human initiated contact. And I was like, fucking awesome. Again, Dr. Stephen Greer, bless him, whether he's a bad guy or not, I don't know. But I agree with pretty much everything he's ever said. Like, and I don't know him as a person, and he's helped me heaps, and he doesn't know me, and I mean nothing. I'm not a scientist or an ex-military. I mean nothing to him, but the truth, and I feel as though certain things happen definitely for a certain reason, and like for me, like everything would just seem to be like not a coincidence, but confirmation, one synchronicity, one after the other, one after the other. It was like yeah, like that's all. It was like confirmations, synchronicities. I don't know, but so then I was out there, even to this day. Like I'm out there, and I got pretty well. I consider myself to be quite good at doing the CE5 protocol stuff now. So what happened? So I was seeing them, and then I was like, well, if I can do this, maybe there's other ways to communicate with them. For some reason, whether or not I had the idea myself or the UFOs give me the idea, but I was like, I want to find a way to communicate with them through crop circles. And I said so at this point, I was starting to make progress in my networking with the UFO community on the internet, on Facebook, because I didn't even have Facebook before then, but I was like, no, well, and then I was like on Facebook, I was like, oh, this was brilliant. I can talk to people and network with people all over the world. There's UFO communities and all this stuff, and I can show them my footage and run my ideas past them and all this stuff. And I made people that I've never met, and yourself included. Like I consider yourself and like that to be my friends, like now, like and people that I care about, like, and I've never met them, and I care about them. And if some of them was to happen to you or someone like that, I'd be upset. I'd be like, oh, that was my mate, fucking. Oh, I'd be really upset. So I was networking with all these people, and that's when I was getting into certain circles and invited to certain like private groups and all this other stuff, and that's when it's going to sound a little bit silly, but I was convinced that this person I was talking to under the alias was, you know, that Giorgio guy from Ancient Aliens, that show. It's going to sound crazy, but just bear me for a sec.
Crazy,
yeah, because he had just been out doing a CE5 event with Dr. Stephen Greer out in the desert, and they were all there. George Knapp, all the crew were there, and I commented on one of these photos that a lady had put up that attended the event, and I said, "Oh, look in the background there. Them that's the UFOs in the background." And no one else had picked up on this thing. And then all of a sudden, these people started talking to me, and I was like, and then the psychics and all that stuff, and a couple of them, I was like, I just had this feeling I knew who they actually were, and one of them was George, and whether it was George Knapp, George Norrie, or Giorgio, the guy that goes, aliens. It must be aliens. You know, the fuzzy curly hair. Anyway, it might not have been them. Anyway, but it doesn't matter if there was or not. But me believing that there was is what initiated more things to happen. Anyway, so I've and I like to draw. So when I was at school, I'd always be drawing, and just drawing, always drawing. Like, Rob, do your schoolwork, and I'll just be drawing pictures. That's all I do. And I'm not even a good drawer, but I just love drawing. So I was drawing this bird, or this Elvis cross John Lennon bird creature thing. When I first started drawing it, I just did like a circle and then another circle, and then then all of a sudden that became the eyes of this creature, and then I drew this bird creature, like I said, John Lennon, Elvis cross, this thing with his eyes. And then for some reason, which I don't normally do, I took a photo of it and I sent it to this guy, Tobias. That's his, I don't know if it is Giorgio or not, but his alias or his name on Facebook, on this account, is Tobias. And I sent it to him and I said, I don't even know why I sent him this photo of me drawing this bird creature thing. I sent it to him, and then it was like a couple of hours later, maybe the next day, he sent back a photo to me of a crop circle that had just been found in the countryside of England. And I'm not convinced it is the eyes of this bird creature are the exact same circles that I had drawn for this for my bird creature. There was 2 different crop circles found. One of the crop circles was the 2 circles crossing, overlapping like that, making these eyes, and the other one was of a bird with eyes on its wings, and these eyes, like not even joking, with his eyes on its wings
Yeah.
flying around like a reconnaissance or an observer bird, or like a bird just like watching over sort of thing. And I was like, fuck. And he sent me, so it was strange for me to send him the photos in the first place. And then he replied just with the photos of the crop circles. And I was like, fuck, that's trippy. Fuck. I want, like, that's, to me, it was more than coincidence. This was another confirmation, another synchronicity. And then, so then I was like, and then I was seeing the UFOs in the sky every night. And I was like, no, this is, I'm going to write a book. I need to do something. So if I die or something happens to me, there needs to be a physical copy or something out there, not just the digital, not just because if there's something happens and these computers go down, like people lose power, all the knowledge and everything's going to be lost, like on these computers. Unless you can't read books, like hard copies, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, it's all right having all this stuff on the internet, but I want to have books with my photos in there of what happened and me telling my, so I wrote a book. So I was writing the book, and that will, sorry for swearing so much, but that was a head fuck. Like, that was driving me crazy. It took like 4 years, and I was going mad doing it. I was going nuts doing it. And like, yeah. So I had this lady from America helping me, from the UFO communities, and she was helping me with the best that she could. And I was getting impatient, and I was always like lashing out and stuff, like, because to me, it was super important. And anyway, I said to her, I want to include the bit about me drawing the bird and the eyes and the crop circle communication, because I think that's a part of a part of what I need to tell. And she's like laughing, going, "Oh, don't worry, Rob, don't worry. You've already got quite a lot here. You've got the photos of being abducted. You got all this footage and stuff. You got quite a lot here. Let's not go down a path of presumption and whatever, like presuming something, right? Let's just stick to this stuff, because we can prove we got all the factual evidence, we got all this stuff, we can prove this. Let's not go that way's a little bit just like clutching us, you know what I mean, like jumping to conclusions." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I just drew this thing on my hand, and I said, "Well, let's do a little test, shall we?" I took a photo of it and sent it. So I said, "Let's see if they respond to this." And I just drew this most simple little circle of these two lines coming out of another little circle on my hand. Took a photo, sent it to her. And at that point, I was like, well, I'm taking a bit of a risk here, because nothing could happen, and then it's just going to make me look like a balloon, or it's going to ruin my credibility. I don't have, in the UFO community, I might not have much credibility because of my standing in the community. So I needed to make sure everything that I ever, even though it's always the case, make sure everything that I ever said to them was spot on, factual. You know what I mean? Like, don't give them any reason not to not believe me. And so she's like, laugh sort of things. I said, okay, all right. And then about a week later, it was actually on her birthday. It was the 20th of April. Yep, it was her birthday as well. And actually the same day as Adolf Hitler's birthday as well. And the Queen's real birthday is also the 20th of April, believe it or not. She celebrates her birthday on a different day, but it actually was the 20th of April. Anyway, I've just scrolling through my Facebook group, like stuff, and this thing with the crop circles come up, bang, and it's exactly what I'd drawn on my hand. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, Mirabel. I was like, her name's Mirabel. I was like, look at this. They made the crop circle. It's just been found of what I drew on my hand. And she was like, went quiet basically. And once again, I'm just like, start buzzing, because I'm just like, oh, this is so awesome. All the stuff that's been happening was like on a trajectory, just always up, getting better, like just, you know what I mean? It was like a bubble that was expanding, and nothing was bursting or popping my bubble. Well, it wasn't until my brother took his own life and killed himself that I realized that I wasn't living in some fantasy, like some movie or something. Then I realized, oh shit, I still can be hurt. Things can still go wrong, like big time wrong. Like nothing like has ever hurt as much as that, as losing my younger brother. Like, it busted me up so bad. And but if I didn't have the UFO experiences and the UFO stuff that I knew about UFOs, if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be here now, because I wouldn't have been able to handle losing my brother. Like, that's what got me through that, and still gets me through every day, is like knowing about just everything that's happening to UFOs. It's like, well, I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going no matter what, because for what it like, and then I already knew, because through my communication with UFOs and my CE5 protocol, that I said, I'd like wanted them, because I could ask them questions and like they will respond like, it's going to sound crazy, but it's full legit. And I was like, where's my brother? Is he with you? I want to know. And then bang, the two craft appeared, and they were like, did this thing in the sky. And I was like, for me, that's confirmation. I was like, oh, sweet. Whether they might be saying they could be saying anything really, like continue on, blah, blah, whatever they're saying. But in my mind, whatever it requires me to believe and think in my head to continue with the mission or continue with the path along the path. So me thinking that this Tobias guy is Giorgio, whether he's Costanzo, whatever,
Yeah.
that's okay, because it's still opening, getting me to go through the next phase or getting me to go to the next point. It doesn't harm my evidence or anything like that. So what I'm getting at is so having the UFOs and stuff, this got me like over the, like I said, losing my brother. He shot himself, and like it's like I was real close to my brother. I'm the oldest. Like I don't want to get into it right now because it's a whole another story. But it was really, I can't think of anything worse. Like since then, like people die, like, and I don't care. Like it sounds cold, but my number one person was my younger brother, and I would have done anything I would have laid my own life down in a heartbeat for my brother. Like anyway, so I don't really, a bit cold, but I don't care so much anymore. So then the crop circle stuff, and then I got the money. I was working doing scrap metal. I got the money together to buy myself a night vision camera because I noticed Dr. Stephen Greer was using night. I wanted to, because when I was seeing the UFOs in the sky, and I was able to have other people with me and show them the lights in the sky. So many people I've shown. I'll say maybe about 100 people that I know personally that were very skeptical, and I've spent about not even 5 minutes with them standing out in the evening in the night sky, and then showing them the UFOs and how they respond and communicate, and then that's it. They're on board, and they're off doing they're off having their own experiences and stuff, and all this other stuff. And like, they're like, if I had them here right now, they'll swear and tell you they're 100% telling the truth. And so that's another cool thing as well. Being able to like even with chicks, I've been like probably about 20 times. I've been with girls and I've impressed them. I'm like, oh, watch this, and I've done stuff with the UFOs with the UFOs, and then the chick's like next minute she's just like, oh my god, and then like I get to have do my one with these girls, like, and it's like, I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's like, I don't like, it's the honest truth. And anyway, so, but got to use your powers for good. So I do know that. So, so I don't misuse it or abuse it whatsoever. But, so I got hold of a night vision camera because I needed to be able to film these things. And, so I was like, then I was like, again, spending a lot of time outside, when I seen him filming them, and I got heaps of cool footage of the night vision camera stuff. A lot of people like Bob Lazar says it perfectly. He says people want hard evidence. They want to be able to test this evidence. They want this evidence where like that. I don't know if they're expecting something out of Star Wars to bloody. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? People want hardcore evidence, and you can have some pretty good footage, of which there's way better footage than I've got out there, and still that's not enough for some people. They're like, oh, that could be this or that, the other. It's like so people were like, oh, that's this or that, and it makes me angry if I put something up on the internet and then someone comments. I really can't read the comments because I get so angry. Like I'll see something like, oh, balloons or drones, and I'm just like, oh man, whoever this person, like I don't.
Right.
Oh, I used to have,
like that, dude.
Yeah. Like I've learned not to stop and argue with every dog that barks. Like, you know what I mean? You just got to keep walking. Like, so what I'm getting at there is but I still get my footage and I put it up. Try not to worry too much what people say. And people that know, and people that know what it is and know. So then, 12 years later, so I had the night vision camera and I got the footage, and all the footage and all the stuff I'm talking about is available on my YouTube channel, UFO Rehab on YouTube, and then you got Robert Mason on Facebook, and a lot of my videos and all that stuff, and I got TikTok as well, which is, I can't remember the name of it. It's Rob Mason something, or no, actually it's UFO Rehab as well. Trying to get it all under one name and stuff. But so I've got all the video footage and I can back up everything that I'm saying, and then once again with the girls, so so with the girls, it's one of my weaknesses as well. But the best things in life is if you ask me, is women. Like, they're amazing. Like, anyway, so 2024, 12 years after 2012, once again I was being naughty, impressing girls, like, more than one, but they don't know of each other. I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but and showing them the UFO, impressing them with the UFOs. And that's when I got the wicked footage of, and by then, like, it's not like I'm new to this. So if you go, like, just say if you go on an adventure tour out in the wild, in the savannah where there's lions and tigers and bears, you don't want to be out there with some guy that's his first day on the job and's got no experience. You want to go out there with a guy that's lost an arm to a bloody to a crocodile, and he's like, he's got bullet holes in him and he's real tough, and he's like, we're going to survive this no matter what, nothing's killing us. It's like, yeah, I got faith in this bloke. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience. You don't want some dude that's like, his first day on the job, he's just come out of bloody working at the hairdressers. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so 12 years later, I've done multiple apprenticeships, if that's what you want to call it, using an analogy. I'm like a Jedi Master now at CE5. Like, got the cameras, got all the stuff, know what to do, I know what I see when I see it, I know what it is. It's like, yeah, if you know, I think you know what I'm saying. So
yeah.
So 12 years later, whether that has anything to do with it, whether it's important or not, I do look at the dates and the times and the numbers of the dates and the times and stuff like that, and because it's always what's the word? It's always so the 20th of the 11th, 2012 was the first one I had, and then the 22nd of the 11th, 2012 was when I was abducted. If you look at them numbers, it's like 2211, 2012, like 22011. Do you know what I mean? So then 12 years later, so it has something to do with it, whether it's rotations of the
they're jumbled.
Yeah, there's like patterns with the numbers. So 12 years later, and then with Jess, she's actually my missus now, and she would be like, oh my God, they're getting scared and all stuff. I'm like, nah, chill, it's all good. Like, it's got this, it's like, and then just walking through it and then have a wicked experience, get the footage. And that was when I got the footage of, I will say, it was a fleet, unless it's the same couple of UFOs flying to the one point, disappearing. Yeah, actually, I think it is that because you can't see it on the footage. They get to this point and then fly super quick, like quicker than it, like a bullet, back to here. And then repeat the process, and then there must be a few, like as far as I know, one of them can just turn into 100 and then turn back into one again, and then get as big as it wants. Like, there's no limitations to these. Whether, like I said, I don't know what's piloting in certain craft, but they just seem to be able to do anything they really want. So once again, you'll see the footage. It's all available on my YouTube channel, my Facebook and stuff. You'll see these. It's like a fleet of UFOs flying from the coastline over where we are, and then many of them, there's not, someone commented, oh, that's the Chinese lanterns. I was like, mate, whatever. Like, there's no explanation for this footage that I got, and the Jess is like, charms the pants off the girls. They're all like, oh my God, like, wicked, that's so cool, that's the coolest thing. I'm like, yeah, and then so then Jess, I like Jess, and she was pretty cool, and she was real supportive of my UFO stuff, and they got this wicked footage while I was with her, and I was like, maybe that's the UFOs telling me like she's all right. Like, they obviously like her, because they do show themselves and let me show girls, but never like on this scale, never like come back down and let it be so cool. So I was like, yeah, but obviously, because they're obviously saying Jess is to be called this girl Jess, and she's actually is quite intuitive and all that stuff herself. So then we went, so I was like putting up with her and stuff, and then so I haven't got any kids of my own, but she's got two young boys, 5 and 7, I think they are, good kids. And she's like, let's go camping on the beach, and we'll see if we can see the UFOs again with the thing. And I was like, just chill, the UFOs, you can't, it's not like a light switch, you can't just flick it on and off and just have them just doing what I want. It's like, yeah, they know when I'm ready. Like, I'll let them know that I'm ready, and then it's up to them how crazy things get. It's up to them and how ready the people that are with me are for what it's about to happen. And anyway, so as always, like, I go for walks every night, every morning. I always have got my night vision stuff on me, no matter what. Always. I always got it on me. Like, a couple of $1,000 worth of equipment. I've always got it on me, just because that's the key thing. It's one thing seeing the UFOs, but being ready to film them and get them good quality footage, or having the right camera there at the time ready to film. That's a whole another issue altogether. So
Yeah.
But like I said, Jedi mastery. So we're at the beach in White Hills, and we're camping there, and I'll just be honest. Like sometimes I don't get jealous, but her little kids like will get in the way of our relationship sometimes, and I'll just be like, oh, they're just little kids. I'll just will like let off. I'll just go walk off on my own, just like do my own thing, just whatever, just cool down, like just be cool, you know. Like if it was my own kids, I could just be like, I could tell them off or whatever, you know. Like I'd be like, listen to what your mum's telling you or anything like that. But they're not my kids, and I wouldn't be too happy if some other dude was telling my or disciplining my children. You know, would do some drastic things like. So I'll always be respectful, you know, like someone else's kids. So I just walked off. I was like, yeah, no. It was getting evening. The sun was starting to go down. I went over to the cars, and I was like, yeah, I'll do my CE5 thing. That always makes me feel better and like calms me down a bit. And then I was starting to question. I was like, do I even want to be with this just Jessie? I was like, why do I even want to miss this? She's got 2 kids. I was like going through all this thing in my mind, and then I was like, come on, and then bang, had a couple of the CE5 UFOs like in the sky, and I've got a laser now as well. Like, yeah, I was like, and I don't usually use the laser because well, the mainly is because here in Australia, if you get caught pointing one of these lasers in the sky, you're going to have not only the police, you're
Oh,
going to have the
yeah.
bloody army, you're going to have Air Force, you're going to have kicking your door down, you're going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble, especially if you're pointing lasers at things that are like
Anything
airplanes
like
or,
a plane or something.
whoa, man, you're going to be in so much trouble. Like,
Yeah.
you ain't got no idea. Like, big, like they'll say you're trying to crash, you're in so much trouble. I don't know what it's like in America, but you don't want to get caught doing it here. So I rarely use the laser, but we're on the beach and we're on the coast and there's no one around. So I'm like, yeah, I should be able to get away with using the laser like thing. So I did the laser thing on them. And then in my mind, I was like, no, I'm gonna break it off with this chick when we get back. Like, this is just annoying me, like the whole kid situation. And like I said, I love the kids and all that stuff, but it was just like, I felt as though it's just something it wasn't my problem. These kids aren't my problem, my issue. Anyway, next minute I just hear Jess going, up, quick, look, over here. And I've just turned and looked, and there they were, the UFOs. Old mate, I call them old mates because they're my mates and they make me feel so good. And nothing makes me more happy than the UFOs. And I've turned around, I'm like, yeah. And I already had my night vision in my hand and the laser. I'm already there, like, getting a little bit of footage of these ones. I'm like, oh, yes, it's back on, baby. They were just a couple hundred meters off the water, off the like where the water and the sand. You saw on footage, and they're just right there. And I was like, "Yo, wicked!" I was like, "Yes!" And not only that, it was like 2 or 3 groups of 3, though. And like, so when I think that I've got them figured out, they do something else that makes me like realize that I haven't got any idea whatsoever. And like,
Yeah.
like they just will do something that just contradicts completely what I was. I was like, yeah, I'm making progress here. This means this and that means that. And then they do something else or show me something else. I'm like, that just completely just destroys that theory, I suppose. But anyway, but like they would, anyway, so it's on the footage, and you'll see that they're there and they're doing their thing. And then she's filmed it on the mobile phone, which is pretty cool. So when you see a full moon, like at night time, and you're like, whoa, look at that full moon. You get your phone out, even with the latest phone, you're like, I'm going to film that. I'm going to get that and show everyone on bloody Facebook this wicked thing. And then you take a photo of it, and it's like this little blob of blurry light on your phone. You're like,
Yeah.
what's this? I was like, I can't even get a good focused picture of this. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, so she's sort of got that type of angle, that perspective, that footage of that from the fire spot. But I'm standing there ready to go with my night vision camera. Bang, and then I'm like, yes. I'm looking through my optics of my camera, going, yeah, baby, this is some wicked. This is good footage, and I'm filming. I'm like, yeah, baby, and the night vision camera doesn't mess around, doesn't play games. It can, because it's made. The one that I used that night is for a hunting rifle, so you can put it on your put in front of your scope from your rifle, so you can shoot things at night time. Not only that, it records, which is great. So, and so light, like it's real light sensitive. Anyway, I don't know how the technology works, but it was able to pick up the UFOs much better, way like awesomely, or like perfectly. And, yeah, so that's happened. Got the footage, and then they've taken, before the UFOs took off, I haven't yet uploaded or released a bit of footage of when I pointed the laser at the big, I'll say motherships or whatever they are above the water. I pointed it at them. Then they disappeared for about 20, 30 seconds. And then I was like, maybe I should point in the laser. Maybe I don't think they like the laser. And then it was like, bang, they would come back again. And like, only for a few moments, let me film them some more. And then they were gone again. And when they left, like, it was like, when you get like a sparkler or something like a spark. I think in America, you definitely will have sparklers and fireworks and stuff, and like something explodes and then like fizzes out, like a fireworks fizzes out. When they were disappearing, they were doing that in the sky. Like, so she's down there near the water where the fire was. I was up near where the cars were, and there was no fire embers or flickering or nothing like that. So what I was filming there on that footage is them, their propulsion system or something, I don't know, or is it the exhaust from them going into different dimensions, or is it even them moving so fast? Because I've tried to slow the footage down, and it sort of does look like that's just them just moving around so quick from point to point to point to point, bam, 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 moving so quick, and like I don't know what they're doing, like they're just like gone, like. That's how fast. I don't know how, like, obviously whatever these things are, like it's like I said to Mr. Fox, Mr. James Fox, the movie producer and director. He was one of the only famous people that replied to me, and like I got a lot of respect for him, hell of a lot of respect for that man. He has the time to read, and not only that, I can get into more details if there's time about what happened with Mr. James Fox.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. What I was going to say was, so an analogy that I shared with Mr. Fox, and he said great analogy, and he reckons it was a great analogy, was, let's just say if you go fishing and you go to get in your car, you get the bait, you get your fishing rod, you drive to the beach, whatever, you're doing your fishing, you catch a fish, you pull the fish out of the water, and then you take your fish off the hook, chuck it back in the water. Now that fish has got it's not capable of understanding the process of me getting in the car, charging my phone, getting fuel, getting bait, driving to the fishing spot. It's impossible for the fish to ever understand any of that. All the fish knows is it was going over there to swim, eat a little bit of squid or something. Bang! Next minute it gets pulled out of the water. All this. It's got, probably because I got the head torch on and stuff, it's got lights in its eyes like when I was taken. It's doing whatever we do real quickly, chuck it back in the water, and to us it's just a fish. Yeah, pull the hook out, just chuck it back in the thing. That fish goes back into its world. It's looking at the other fish going, what the fuck just happened then? Like, what does it just carry, like, where in the fish is. People say fish only have 3-second memories, but I've seen and I can prove that that's not the case. Like, I won't get into that right now, I'll stay on topic. But so my point being is that fish has no way of understanding or being capable of comprehending any of that stuff. And I think that's the same as with these UFOs. Like, who's to say that light in the sky is a spaceship? Who's to say that's not their hook on their fishing line coming in from somewhere and trying to like use bait to catch something, or who knows? You know what I mean? Like, and when you don't know, because well, like I said, I hadn't seen an alien yet. So, but so that's my analogy. There's no way of comprehending or understanding what actually goes on. But I would love to share like with proper, like, a scientist, I suppose, if you have to be a scientist, I suppose, but someone that could just take it, like, who people that I think now it's the world, America especially, they're like starting to get their shit together with the UFOs and getting all their military people together and putting all the information and knowledge, all that stuff into, like, and then maybe we should just put it all into a big database and get AI to figure it out, because AI is pretty quick, pretty good and stuff like that. But
September 9th, we're going to have another Congress over here in the U.S. is doing another UAP hearing. So hopefully, supposedly this will have first-person witnesses.
Yeah.
There's still, I've got a copy of the thing that we gave to Congress from, it's just a disclosure organization what Dr. Greer gave to Congress, and it's got like 791 witnesses in it, all these different people to call, and they're like, still not calling them.
Yeah.
But we're working on it over here. Stuff's moving and shaking. I'll tell you more about that off here.
Yeah, like I told you last time, I love America. Like, America is awesome. Like, as long as America's around, we should be all right. Like, fingers crossed, you know. But so that's that. So now it's gone on, and then so I might as well, I'll just this last bit. So that all happened, and then so all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but now then after that moment, so we got back home, uploaded the video. and I hadn't had much success in regards to views and clicks and likes and all that stuff with my videos up until that point. Um, Minimal, like within under 5,000, 10,000, like, which is nothing. Like, if you know what I mean, as far as views. So when this latest footage, and I shared it on Facebook, a day or so later, because I was so tired from the camping and fishing, like I slept for like 24 hours. But when I woke up and looked at my phone and looked at Facebook, I was like, had messages from the local, or not, yeah, from Perth state and national news stations asking if they could share my footage. It had blown up. It had like 1 million views. I was like, yeah. I was like, wicked. I was like, once again, it was like it was bittersweet. Well, if that's right, I'm not sure, but it was oh, another moment of just pure bliss and happiness, and I'm still happy. Like I could die tomorrow, and I'm happy about that because it's not the acknowledgement and not the attention or anything. Not like I so much want it for that, for the ego stuff, but at the other hand, why would the UFOs let me film it and get all this footage and stuff if I wasn't supposed to share it with people as well, you know? So,
Right,
and
right,
all,
yeah.
and having so many eyes, get the eyes on that bit of footage was so good. And next minute, I had people from the Perth CE5 groups asking me to come along and attend their CE5 stuff. Because, yeah, that footage, I was actually doing a CE5 protocol when we got that awesome footage on the beach. Or every time since 2012, I'm doing a C5 protocol. So, I do consider myself a Jedi Master at doing it, but touch wood, but what do you call it? So then yeah, so I said yeah, fine, yeah, sweet. That's they said they weren't having no luck. They had some good decent numbers, people attending and stuff like that, but they weren't having much luck with as far as initiating contact with UFOs. And then he was like basically not begging me, but he was like, please, can you attend? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So then I've friends of mine that I've already opened their mind up and shown them the UFOs, and they're already on board. And I've got about 20 good close friends that I can bring them with me, and they'll help, like the teammates that we work together to do it. They'll just enhance my thing. Anyway, so my point being, I've gone there with my friend and his missus. But part of me is a little bit, it's like the thing with the crop circle. When I drew the crop circle and sent it to Mirabai, and I said, let's see if the UFOs respond to this. I'm taking a little bit of a risk by going there, and just to say nothing happens and the UFOs don't rock up, well, then that's going to be like a loss. You know, like UFC, you got like 10 wins, 0 losses. I don't want any L's or losses against my name on my record. So it's always a risk, but I was like, yeah, no, Colin, let's go do it. We got there, and then we got to the spot where it's supposed to be, and there's no signs, there's nothing. It was like, it says to be here, and there's no cars. Well, let's just drive up around here, and so we're driving up a couple of minutes up around there. And we finally just hidden away. There's like 1, maybe 2 cars, about 4 people, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I felt a little. I was like, oh, should we just go? And then my mate was like, yeah, let's just go. Like, there's no one even here. Like, and I was like, oh, I was turning the car, and I was like, nah, let's stop. Let's do it. Let's stop. Let's stop. And anyway, because I felt a little bit sorry for them as well. Like, like their heart and their mind's in the right place. Good people, like actual good people, you know, like probably much better people than I am. But they were like, so their heart's in the right spot. And I'm a good person in the day, like. So I was like, no, let's stop and let's do the thing. So I got out, stopped and got the car. And I'm getting I've always got my night vision on me. I get my night vision out and stuff like that, setting it up. And it was about 20 minutes away from getting dark. And they were sitting over there in their deck chairs, only about 3, maybe 4 people. And not in a rude way. I didn't go over there and just introduce myself or anything like that. But so anyway, I was doing something in my car, and then one of them's come over and he's like tapped me on the back and he's like, hey. And he thought that I was a local that lives around the area. And he's like, oh, we're just here doing this thing. Sorry, we're not trespassing. I was like, nah, well, I'm here for this as well. Like, where's the C5 organizer? Like, he asked me to come down. It turns out he's like begged me all these messages for these days, and then he wasn't there. And I was like, he didn't rock up himself. I was like, well, that's half-assed shambles. Like, he's organised this thing, put these things up all over the internet, getting people to go, and he's not rocked up, and he's not even sent me a message saying he's not going to be there. And I was like, wow, whatever, like, whatever. And then I was like, did the C5 thing, bang, had some wicked, straight away, I could hear them over there in the deck chairs going, oh, look at all, like getting all excited and giddy. And I was like, I was like, over here, and then laser pointed them real quick, and then just like, they're like, yep. And then I had quite a successful CE5 protocol session, we'll say. I got it on footage. And then, I was like, got it on footage, and then so the next day I went and put it up on the Facebook group, and that guy, the CE5 group event organizer, and I was like, well, where was you, dude? I was like, you didn't rock up. He's like, oh, I was sick. And I was like, well, not a fucking message saying, oh, I'm not going to go. It would have been nice, like a bit of courtesy, you know? Anyway, I was like, yeah, well, here's the footage that I got from out there doing it. He's like, what footage? What do you mean? I was like, yeah, we had successful C5 stuff. And then he was like, oh, wicked. Next minute, he's made me admin, and he's like, wants me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all down for that. Like, I reckon if we get more people we get, the better the showings will be of the UFOs, you know, like, and that's so in the next group we've got all, because it's winter here in Perth at the moment. There hasn't been another C5 event since then, but there's one coming up soon, and it's the 20th of, if I remember correctly, 20th of September. Yeah. And anyone watching this or wants to participate, 20th of September, contact me through Facebook or something like that, and we'll sort out the details. Preferably people that are not only open-minded to this, but are not scared of looking a little bit silly, like doing the meditation stuff and all that, and not so much believing, because the cool thing about myself is, because of the experiences I have had, I don't have to believe anything, because I know. It's the coolest thing. It's like, and even Dr. Stephen Greer says that, it's like, you got to get past the bit of wanting to believe and questioning and doubting, and just knowing. And once you know, it's so easy to do it. And then, so was the secret weapon or secret special ability or whatever. It's just knowing. And there's no doubt, zero doubt, knowing that thing. And then it happens. So if anyone does come to the C5 event, it helps. Just another thing, like I said before, I've taken friends out and shown friends. There's been more than one occasion. There's been, like, let's say I've shown 100 people, like I said. Let's just say I tried to show 125 people, but 100, it worked, but 25 of the people, it didn't work. And more than one occasion, many occasions, I was out with them, standing side by side with them, and they're looking that way in the sky. I'm looking this way in the sky. I see and have the wicked thing. I'm like, oh, quick. By the time they've stopped, turn around and look, it's things disappeared. And then it's as though the UFO didn't want that person to see them, or to unlock their mind, or whatever it is. And they might sound harsh to say things like that, but I don't know if you got to be ready. You got to get yourself prepared and up to a certain level of awareness. And I think maybe, unless these people have bad intentions deep down or something like that, but once you're already along the path, of looking into watching these videos like yourself, watching podcasts like this and stuff like that, you're pretty much already get the tick of approval, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, it's definitely like, and I just don't know how these things are so aware. It's like in the Bible, I think it says, they're talking about God or one of the angels, but even every hair on your body is accounted for. It's like God knows how many hairs you have, strands you have on your body, like knows everything. That's what these things, they know your thoughts. Probably can't prove it too much, but like they know, they know the future in a way, like whether they know crystal clear the future, but they must know certain things can't make the future possible, or if you know what I mean, like, and especially when it comes to thoughts and thinking and stuff like that. So like, I don't know how they know, but it's like, how can, if it's technology or whatever it is, I'm not exactly sure. But that's the cool thing is, because I think if we did have all the answers and was our mechanical, technical machine technology that was giving them the ability to do that, that'd be cool. And I would accept and be cool with that. But a part of me does really like the unknown part of it, where we don't really know, and it still could be all these other possibilities, because then other possibilities makes things really interesting and like really exciting, and makes me feel really good. Like I will get to see my brother again one day and stuff like that. Like, sometimes having all the knowledge and all the answers is not a good thing, because it can be depressing. Like it can be. So it's good having mystery. Yeah. Sorry.
I completely know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Thoth said it to the ancient Egyptians in the Emerald Tablets. He said, after exploring the universe and every far reaches of the universe, how does he say it? He goes, there, after he's like, he goes out in his spaceship or in his Vimana, which is a conscious
Yeah.
created, which is a conscious, you probably know what a Vimana is. He goes out in his Vimana, explores the whole, like the outside universe, the outer, and though he is more impressed by the mysteries that dwell in the hearts of men than what is out in the universe. There's nothing out in the universe that compares to mystery that dwells in the heart of men. And that's awesome. I love that. That's the coolest thing.
Mhm.
I love that stuff, man. That's like, yeah, like the mystery that dwells in the hearts of men, like like troops going to war and like for their brothers laying their lives down, all this cool, like epic stuff. On like to some life forms out there, like there's some epicness, like stuff that happens, which I know dying is a bad thing and stuff, but who knows at the end of the day, like, who knows, you don't know, so it could,
Yeah.
but yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much my story up until point case. So I did see something the other night, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was out doing something um, and oh, it was one of the very rare few times I'm outside at night time without my night vision on me, and I was actually a couple of streets down from my house, and I was with someone, and I was talking to someone, and it was actually happening again. So it happens many times, like it'll happen behind them, like behind their shoulder, and I'll just don't even bother saying anything. I'll just watch it, and just be like, oh yeah, and like they don't necessarily need to see it like a lot of the time. Anyway, it was just one of the like CE5 UFOs, and it went to a certain point, and the sky stopped, and then we started going back the other way, and I was like, fuck, I should have my night vision camera on me right now. I would have got that. Would have been a nice bit of footage. And I was like, oh well, obviously the UFOs or whatever, like, I don't think they do anything by mistake or take any chances, or I think they know what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and even when might not seem clear to us, like, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. That just gets into the world of the unknown and just me coming to conclusions and stuff. What's the word? Like, yeah, speculation, like speculating stuff. So I'll stop there with that.
I use
Yep.
I use Dr. Greer as my canary in the coal mine. You know, if I
Yep.
see him not freaking out, I'm like, okay, we're fine.
Have you
Everything's
met
moving
Dr.
in the
Greer
right
before? Have
direction.
you?
What's that?
Have you met Dr. Stephen Greer before?
No, I've never met him in person.
Oh, okay.
I keep trying to every time there's one of the events going on, he does events here in Arizona or
Yep.
kind of in Virginia where he said this sort of thing. But yeah, for some reason, every time there's an event to go out and meet him, like I end up having something else to do, so I haven't gotten to do
Yep.
that yet. So
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to talk to him more. Talk to him or meet him as well. And I would say this: like, your heart's like got to have a bit of empathy for him. Like, he's done a lot, like as far as disclosure and all this stuff, all the work he's done. And I've seen these whippersnapper, whatever the word is, like these young up and coming UFO guys, and they were disrespecting him the other day on a podcast or something like that, and they
oh
were
yeah,
disrespecting him really badly, and I was like, that's a bit harsh. Like, come on, no, like
The-
yeah, I don't know him as a person, but
yeah.
from what I can tell, he's
I
never. Sorry,
I don't know the man personally, but I would vouch
yeah,
for him for my reputation on it.
yeah,
You know, for since like the 1990s, he's been doing this, and you know, every 6 months, it's a new person who comes up and says, "Oh, he's a Mossad agent. Oh, he's actually working for the Bulgarian government. Oh, he's
yeah.
working for the Chinese.
He's an
Oh,
alien. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like all over the place. That recently there was a guy on the Danny Jones show
I
saying
might
he
have
had
seen
some
it. I might have seen
pamphlets
it.
about something, and I was just listening to it, and I was
Exposing
like,
whistleblowers. Is that right? About
he
people
was
that endangering
he the
whistleblowers.
it was a guy that was trying. I don't know what the subject matter of the
Yeah,
show was. The
I
guy
think it's
that's
the
on
same thing.
the guy who was on the podcast is like it's like a guy who tries to expose people, and so he was
It
trying to
gets like
say that
millions of views as well, like quite big. Is that
yeah,
right?
it was like he was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
say Dr. Greer was like working for a foreign government or something,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
a complete crock of shit. But what I can tell you
yep.
is this: the people that made that up, I know for a fact that he's suing them, so
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah,
actually going
yeah,
to be facing criminal charges for
yeah, yeah.
slander
That's good.
against him.
But in a way,
So
Ryan,
yeah.
when things like that happen, it just makes it harder for legitimate people like myself and yourself
Yeah.
to cross that, to bridge that gap, for him to take me seriously. Like, I got my G.I. Joe hat on or whatever. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? If
I think,
people don't have to believe me or whatever, they can think what they want. But
you know,
sorry.
all throughout I was gonna say throughout the 90s and like even the early 2000s and getting into like the 2010s, still everybody that was talking about this stuff was a researcher or expert. Nobody
Yep.
like us was talking about this. We're just guys
Yeah.
who live down the street and walk our dogs like everybody else. That's it, you know.
Exactly. Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's the reason for doing this, and I
Yep.
love seeing other people do the same thing.
Yep.
But yeah, but I got an idea, man. I want to be respectful of your time here. You've got this
Yeah.
event coming up in September, and I want to
Yep.
also, we didn't get to touch on your actual kind of contactee abduction case type of thing.
Yep.
But that would be cool to talk about too. But yeah, man, we'll cut it here for now
Yeah.
with
Yep.
this, and then we'll come back, we'll regroup, and we'll have, and actually that'll be after the 20th will be after we've had the hearings over here, and we can discuss that too.
Awesome. Awesome.
Perfect, man.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Robert.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Salute.